Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to understand the future of the American empire, do not look at the White House. Do not look at the halls of Congress. Look at the scorching desert of Phoenix, Arizona. This past weekend, something fundamental shifted in the tectonic plates of the Republican Party. The media will tell you it was just a conference. They will tell you it was America Fest, a gathering of young conservatives. But that is the surface-level narrative designed for the evening news. What actually happened in Phoenix was a coronation held inside a battlefield. For the first time since the tragic death of movement founder Charlie Kirk, the MAGA faithful gathered not just to mourn, but to decide the fate of the throne. And walking into this power vacuum was Vice President J.D. Vance. But he didn't walk into a unified party. He walked into a civil war. The headlines are calling it divisions. I call it a fracture. We witnessed speakers attacking each other on stage. We witnessed open warfare between the Israel First hawks and the America First isolationists. We saw the ugly underbelly of race politics threatening to consume the very movement that gave it life. And yet, amidst this chaos, J.D. Vance made a gamble. A massive, high-stakes gamble. He didn't try to suppress the chaos. He embraced it. He told the crowd to be free thinkers. He told them not to apologize for being white. He is attempting the impossible, to inherit Donald Trump's base without inheriting Donald Trump's unique ability to control it. Trump is the lame duck. The clock is ticking on his era. And J.D. Vance is positioning himself as the inevitable successor, the king in waiting. But there is a shadow looming over this coronation, a shadow named Nick Fuentes, a shadow of racial animosity that is targeting Vance's own family while he tries to court its energy. Today we are going to decode the Phoenix Summit. We are going to look at the money, the endorsement that changed everything, and the dangerous race trap that J.D. Vance just stepped into. This is the story of how the GOP is being torn apart and stitched back together in real time. Let's begin with the power mechanic. In politics, endorsements are usually cheap. A politician says, "I like this guy," and everyone moves on. But what happened at America Fest was not a standard endorsement. It was the transfer of a war machine. Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk and the new matriarch of Turning Point USA, stood on that stage and did something unprecedented. She didn't just praise J.D. Vance, she anointed him. She threw the full weight of the organization behind Vance for 2028, years before the first primary vote will be cast. You need to understand the scale of this weapon. Turning Point USA is not a debate club. According to their tax filings, they brought in $84 million in the last fiscal year. They have field operations in every single one of Iowa's 99 counties. Iowa is where presidents are made. And Turning Point owns the ground game in Iowa. When Erica Kirk endorsed Vance, she wasn't just giving him a thumbs up. She was handing him the keys to the most sophisticated youth mobilization army in conservative history. She was handing him the database. She was handing him the foot soldiers. Benny Johnson, a key influencer, revealed the insider truth when he told CNN that Charlie Kirk's last text message was, "JD has to win." In the MAGA movement, that is a canonization. It turns Vance from a politician into a holy crusader, fulfilling the last wish of a fallen martyr. And the numbers reflect this inevitability strategy. A new CNN poll shows Vance at 22% for the 2028 nomination. The next closest competitor? At 5%. Marco Rubio knows this. That's why he's already signaling he won't run. He's kissing the ring. Anna Paulina Luna knows this. That's why she pledged loyalty on stage. J.D. Vance is building a juggernaut of inevitability. He wants to clear the field before the game even starts. He wants the donors, the influencers, and the activists to look at the board and say, "Checkmate, it's Vance." But here is the paradox. While Vance is consolidating the institutional power, the ideological foundation is crumbling beneath his feet. He has the money, he has the data, but does he have the control? This brings us to the most controversial, and frankly, the most calculated moment of the entire summit. J.D. Vance knows that the big tent of the Republican Party is tearing at the seams. He has tech billionaires on one side and blue-collar populists on the other. He has pro-Israel evangelicals on one side and the America First isolationists on the other. How do you unite these warring tribes? Vance's answer at America Fest was to pivot to Christian nationalism and identity politics. Listen to his words carefully. They were chosen with surgical precision. Christianity is America's dream. And then, the line that set the room on fire. In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore. This is the dog whistle turned into a megaphone. Vance is smart. He knows that the younger generation of conservatives, the Zoomers mentioned in the report, are feeling alienated. He knows they are being radicalized by online algorithms that tell them they are under attack. By saying, "You don't have to apologize for being white," Vance is trying to capture the energy of the alt-right without explicitly endorsing their darkest theories. He is trying to validate their grievance without validating their violence. It is a high-wire act. He is trying to outflank the extremists by adopting their language. He is telling the free thinkers in the audience, "I hear you. I am one of you. I am not a drone of the establishment." But there is a massive risk in this strategy. When you feed the alligator, you have to be careful it doesn't eat your arm. Vance thinks he can ride this tiger of white grievance. He thinks he can harness it for votes in 2028. But the report from Phoenix exposes a terrifying reality. The tiger is already off the leash. This is the dark shadow that hung over the entire weekend. The report mentions a name that strikes fear into the heart of the GOP establishment: Nick Fuentes. Fuentes is an avowed white nationalist. He is a Holocaust denier. He is the leader of the Groyper Army, and right now, he is winning the battle for the soul of the young conservative movement. J.D. Vance is in a trap, and it is a trap of his own making. Last week, Vance tried to defend his supporters on X. He argued that there is a difference between criticizing Israel and being anti-Semitic. It sounded reasonable. It sounded like a defense of free speech. But look who cheered him on: Nick Fuentes. Fuentes took that as permission. He took it as a green light. And then the trap snapped shut. A follower replied to Vance, using his own logic to attack his wife, Usha Vance, who is of Indian descent. They called for a ban on third world immigrants. They used racial slurs. This is the MAGA civil war in its rawest form. You have Vivek Ramaswamy on stage screaming, "If you think Hitler was cool, you have no place here." He is drawing a red line. But J.D. Vance, the vice president? He went silent on Fuentes. He told the crowd he didn't come with a list of conservatives to denounce and deplatform. Think about the implications of that silence. By refusing to denounce the Fuentes wing, Vance is making a calculation. He believes he needs their numbers. He believes he needs their energy to win in 2028. He is trying to build a coalition that includes both the husband of an Indian-American woman and the people who want to deport her. It is political schizophrenia. The report notes that Fuentes was a regular tormentor of Turning Point, but now he has the ear of the youth movement. His interview with Tucker Carlson ripped the conservative movement apart. Vance is standing in the middle of this wreckage, trying to smile and say, "Don't be discouraged by the infighting." He calls it infighting. I call it cannibalization. The movement is eating itself alive. The young attendee, Easton Urbanek, said it perfectly. Right-wing Zoomers believe in Trump's message or further. Or further. That is the danger zone. Further means Fuentes. Further means racial essentialism. Vance is betting that he can act as the dam that holds back this flood, diverting the water into the turbines of his political ambition. But the water is rising fast. So, where does this leave us as we look at the board? We have a lame duck President Trump, whose power is slowly receding like the tide. We have a vice president, J.D. Vance, who has secured the money and the machinery of the biggest youth organization in the country. He has the inevitability, but he is building his castle on a fault line. The AmericaFest conference exposed that the base is not unified behind him. There are people like Jose Rodriguez, the 32-year-old Californian, who said, "I can't just blindly follow J.D. Vance." They are loyal to the man, Trump, not the party. Vance's inner circle believes his future is tied to whether Trump transforms the country. But I argue his future is tied to something much more volatile. Can he survive his own friends? He is deploying Christian nationalism as a shield. He is deploying anti-woke rhetoric as a sword. But he is fighting a two-front war. On one front, he has the Democrats and the media. On the other front, he has the groypers and the racial extremists who view his marriage as a betrayal of their values. At AmericaFest, Vance stepped into the fire. He didn't get burned, yet. But the heat is rising. And this brings us to the economic stakes. Because while Vance is fighting these culture wars in the desert, the American people are straining to find hope in the face of an affordability crisis. Vance told them, "Good, be impatient." He is trying to weaponize their economic pain into political fuel. But what happens if the war of ideology distracts from the war on inflation? What happens if the internal bleeding of the GOP becomes so severe that they cannot govern? In the next section of this analysis, we are going to look at the 2026 midterm implications. We are going to analyze why Vance is hurling insults at Democrats now, years early. And we are going to ask the ultimate question: is J.D. Vance the savior of the GOP, or is he the undertaker presiding over its fracture? The desert is hot, but the political temperature is about to go nuclear. Because the heat in Arizona wasn't just about ideology, it was about raw political utility. J.D. Vance isn't just auditioning for 2028. He is operating right now as the enforcer for the 2026 midterms. While the media focuses on the racial controversies, they are missing the specific marching orders Vance gave to the Turning Point Army. He explicitly told them to pressure the Republican-led Senate. For what? Tax cuts? No. Infrastructure? No. He wants them to push for Trump's judges. He wants the judicial assembly line moving faster. Why? His exact words were, "so there can be more prosecutions and swifter justice." This is the strongman mechanic. Vance knows that the MAGA base is hungry for revenge. They feel the legal system was weaponized against Trump, and they want the favor returned. By promising more prosecutions, Vance is feeding red meat to the wolves. He is telling them that the second term isn't about policy, it's about retribution. And he needs this anger. He needs it desperately. Why? Because of the economic reality lurking in the background of this summit. The report notes that voters are straining to find hope in the face of an affordability crisis. Let's translate that. The economy is still hurting people. Inflation might be down on paper, but the price of eggs, rent, and insurance is crushing the very young people sitting in that audience. Usually, a vice president would get on stage and say, "Be patient, the plan is working." Vance did the opposite. He flipped the script. He told them, "I know some of you are impatient. Good, be impatient." He said, "Use a desire for justice for your country as fuel." This is weaponized impatience. Vance knows he can't fix the prices overnight. So instead of offering a solution, he is offering a target. He is redirecting their economic anxiety into political rage. He is telling them, "Don't be mad at the economy. Be mad at the enemies who broke it." It is a brilliant, cynical survival tactic, but it admits a terrifying truth. The administration knows the pain isn't going away before the midterms. But even with this aggressive strategy, there is a crack in the armor that Vance cannot hide. The report gives us a fascinating interview with a 32-year-old attendee named Jose Rodriguez. Jose compared this moment to 2016. He said he left the Democrats because they forced Hillary Clinton on voters over Bernie Sanders. And now, he sees the GOP doing the same thing. "I can't just blindly follow J.D. Vance," he said. This is the coronation trap. By accepting the endorsement of Turning Point so early, by locking up the donors and the establishment of the MAGA world, Vance risks becoming the very thing the movement hates, the anointed one. The MAGA movement was built on rebellion. It was built on smashing the hierarchy. If Vance looks too much like the chosen successor, the base will revolt. They want an outsider. They want a fighter. They don't want a vice president who was handpicked by the party elites in a backroom deal. Vance is walking a razor's edge. He has to be loyal to Trump, the ultimate insider now, while pretending to be an insurgent. And the moment he looks like part of the plan, the Nick Fuentes wing and the Liberty wing will start looking for a new champion. And finally, we have the issue that threatens to tear the big tent completely apart: Israel. Vance has spent the last year cautiously treading through this minefield. He has to please the Israel First donors who fund the party. But he also has to please the America First isolationists, the Tucker Carlson audience, who believe we are wasting money abroad. At America Fest, this tension boiled over. Speakers sparred openly over Israel's influence. Vance tried to thread the needle. He defended his supporters against charges of anti-Semitism, but he also tried to maintain credibility with Israel's allies. This is unsustainable. You cannot be an isolationist and a hawk at the same time. Eventually, a crisis will happen. A war will expand. And Vance will have to choose. When he chooses, half of that room in Phoenix will turn on him. So, as the dust settles in the Arizona desert, what is the verdict? J.D. Vance has successfully executed a hostile takeover of the MAGA infrastructure. He has the money of Turning Point, $84 million strong. He has the endorsement of the widow Kirk. He has the poll numbers, 22%. He is the heir apparent. But he is ruling over a kingdom that is on the verge of civil war. He is riding a tiger. He is feeding it white grievance politics. He is feeding it retribution rhetoric. He is feeding it impatience. The tiger is eating it up, for now. But history tells us one thing about riding tigers: you dare not dismount. The moment Vance tries to pivot to the center for a general election, the moment he tries to be Vice President Vance instead of MAGA warrior Vance, the tiger will turn. Nick Fuentes is watching. The Zoomers are watching. J.D. Vance won the weekend, but the war for the soul of the party has only just begun. And in 2026, we will find out if this coalition can actually win votes, or if they will just consume each other in the desert. Stay tuned. The Civil War is televised.